않았어. 너의 얼굴 다시 볼 줄 정말 몰랐어.
Annyeonghaseyo YouTube, it is I, MS Genius, and today I am here with the Great Doctor, aka Faith, episode 3. First, I would like to talk about the 5 categories of awesomeness and where this relies. The music received a 4, the action received a 3, the acting received a 5, the plot received a 5 as well, and the fan service received a 3. And basically, this whole entire episode received a major 4 because it was phenomenal. The music I gave a phenomenal 4 because the music as well has always been epic. The action took a dip, and that was basically to enable the acting and the plot because the acting so far in this entire drama has been godlike, literally. And the fan service, I feel that it took a dip, basically. There wasn't enough for fans to really cling for, and that was also shown evident in the dip in viewership. But I believe this was all for the plot to basically develop more. So with that said, I'd like to get into the actual review. For starters, Unso basically saves Choi Young. We already knew that was going to happen. So I guess there's your fan service that Choi Young is not going to die. Ji Cheo is basically pissed that the Queen survived the assassination attempt as it messes up his future plans. Then we have Inuyasha, Chun Ja, then kills the messenger with Soundwaves playing from his sword-like flute in dramatic fashion, and that was epic, I must say. Of course, the Inuyasha reference is due to his white hair. He might even be a Sesshomaru, who knows, but this guy has so far been epic. And we all know with people with white hair are usually going to be the bad guy. That's just, unless you were Inuyasha, that's just how it's always been. After that, Choi Young basically tries to have the king move because it is dangerous for everyone, and Unso is trying to stop him as she is worried about his injuries. But Choi Young says that if everyone doesn't move, then everyone will die. Hwa So-in is introduced, and she is late to basically kill the queen, and she basically makes the messenger a scapegoat of her lateness, and says that he betrayed them. She then burns him alive, and that is basically the Mizukage status, and that Mizukage is from Naruto. Unso makes friends with Queen No-guk and does her makeup to make her look beautiful, and I agree, Queen No-guk is beautiful. Like, her acting has really dawned on me as well. After arriving, they realize there are no court officials to greet the king, which is a huge sign of disrespect. Court Lady Trio is introduced in the sequence as she is an old acquaintance of both Gongmin and Choi Young. Unso begins to lecture Jungbin on Choi Young's status, claiming that he could eventually come down for defection if he is not careful. We are treated to a flashback of how No-guk and Gongmin meet, and Gongmin was supposed to marry a Huan princess who he actually hates. And in fact, that Huan princess was actually No-guk, who was, who Gongmin basically mistook for someone that was from the Goryeo nation. He proposes to marry her without even knowing that she's actually the princess, and of course, this would obviously start tension between them, because Gongmin was basically bad-mouthing Huan as a whole, and this basically got on No-guk's nerves. Gongmin learns that the court officials have been killed, and suspicion is automatically laid on Ji Cheo because of his power and his influence, but it's hard to take him down because of that power and influence. Choi Young tells Gongmin that he has finished his final task under the previous prince, and that was to transport him safely back from Huan to Goryeo. Gongmin denies his request and gives him a new set of tasks to complete before he can stop being a soldier/warrior. Choi Young is forced to simply comply since it is the command of the current king and not the previous one. Eventually, they find the evidence of what they thought was related to the court officials' murderers and devise a plan to use it to their advantage to challenge the authority of Ji Cheo. Choi Young then invades Prince Ji Cheo's headquarters with a royal command from the king. He claims that because this is the first royal command of the king since he has returned, and since his return 10 years, that everyone should be willingly kneeling for him in his royal order. Choi Young shows him the orders in order to basically bait Ji Choi Young, and it's all about the court officials' deaths and saying that basically Ji Choi Young should assist them in finding out the true murderers of the court officials. Um, After this, Yoon-so is basically walking around with her pants exposed up high, like basically her legs are exposed, because of the dirtiness to her pants, and she had to cut it and whatnot. And of course, showing her bare legs is basically porn back in the days for everyone. After this, Unso then tries to treat Choi Young, but he refuses it. She ends up telling him that she only wants to help him badly, but he rejects it all the time, and she doesn't want him to die. She gives him the Advil, or should I say the aspirin, and leaves crying while Choi Young is reflecting on his actions. He then shows his injuries again and that they are worsening, and Daemon is in the rafters looking on. And this basically concludes this episode of Faith. I hope you guys like this review. Once again, I hope you guys continue to subscribe to the channel, and await my further reviews. With that said, nobody can be God, but everybody has the potential to be God-like.